Hello Fast Fam, thanks for tuning in. I'm Craig Lieberman and I've been tinkering on cars since 1980. I've owned more than 40 cars in my life. Some were heroes, some were zeros. But never in my wildest dreams would I ever guess that 3 of my cars would go on to star in a motion picture franchise. My Supra, my GTR, and my Maxima all had starring roles in Universal's Fast and Furious movies. Over the next 3 years, I'd served Universal as a technical advisor. I helped choose the cars, procure the parts, oversee their builds, and support both production and post-production. I have some cool stories to tell about what it was like to build these cars and to work with the cast. I was there, on set, in the production meetings, working on cars, hanging with the actors, and consulting on post-production. So follow along as I tell the stories. Let's jump in.
Let me tell you what Melba Toast is packing right here. I've got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, Ford over 30, 11-to-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some fucking muscle.
Muscle cars, they're reminders of our youth, and their timeless designs take us back to a time when life was simpler and arguably more fun. Fortunately, the producers of our beloved Fast and Furious movies understand this, and in most of the movies, the muscle car generation is well represented. In Too Fast, Too Furious, we had several, but for this video, we're going to be talking about the 1970 Dodge Challengers and the 1969 Camaros. If you've been watching my videos, you already know that whenever cars will be used in stunt sequences, we needed to have backup cars. This is the case. One car gets wrecked in a stunt, we have the backups to use in case we didn't get the shot that we wanted. This was also the case in Too Fast, Too Furious. Because of this, we settled on acquiring 9 Camaros and 6 Challengers. I want to make one thing clear. We did not go out and buy pristine, fully restored versions of either one of these cars. Occasionally, we'd buy a strip chassis, or in a couple of instances, they were cars that were mostly intact but were in very rough shape. But those that were usable were hardly show cars. Of course, only one Camaro had the 427 big block with the 4-speed manual transmission, and one car had a 396, and the rest had small block V8s, but they were not LS1 engines. The Camaro was to be driven by a character named Darden, played by Eric Edibari. To restore these cars, a company called Year One, known for its resto parts business, provided us with everything we needed, right down to the chrome trim pieces. The cars were then prepped and painted, after which we began the restoration and assembly of the cars. All of the work was done at the Picture Car Warehouse in Hialeah, Florida. Of the 6 Challengers we had, one had a 426 HEMI, and I believe the rest were small block Dodge motors, but my notes are not clear. The Challenger was for the character named Corpy, played by John Cena Tiempo. The Challengers weren't going to get a lot of screen time, and since they weren't going to see any wild stunts, building these cars would be a little easier. With the Camaros, it was a completely different story. Originally, the Camaro was to be in a few scenes, including the barrel race, and again near the end of the film as the movie comes to its climax. As we near the climax, Roman would be driving the Challenger, but of course, both Brian and Roman first needed to ditch the bad guys riding in their cars. This is when the production team decided it was a good idea to get rid of Corpy by ejecting him out of the car. A vertical ejection seat was ruled out due to cost and complexity, and so instead, Roman would reach for a button that looked like a nitrous activation switch. Once he hit the button, the door would be explosively released and the passenger seat would go along with it. The actual ejection, though, was mostly CG. To be clear, the ejection seat was not powered by nitrous oxide. It was computer generated. Of course, that was all Hollywood bullshit, but it was still exciting to watch. As the script neared the end, the director, John Singleton, realized that he really didn't have an ending to the movie. We knew Carter Verone was going to try to escape, but how could we make his capture more spectacular? This is when lots of ideas were being discussed, but in the meeting, none of them seemed to excite John Singleton. After the meeting, my boss, Ted Mosier, suggested that we launch Brian and Roman off the end of a pier, an idea borrowed from the Smokey and Bandit bridge jump scene in the Smokey and the Bandit movie. John Singleton loved it. So how did we do it? First, we stripped one of the Camaros down to a bare shell. We took out all the running gear, all the fluids, and filled the fenders with spray foam that expands, just like used by home builders in insulation. The car was then attached to a cable and pulley system. A vehicle attaches one end of the cable to its trailer hitch, and the other end of the cable was attached to the front of the Camaro. Al Desario, the film's special effects supervisor, explains it in his own words.
This type of planning starts off with a creative meeting, and we listen to John Singleton, our director, and we listen to what his vision is of what he would like to see. The car landing on the boat, which was our star, Paul Walker, playing Brian, and he races alongside of the Verone boat that's trying to escape, and He hits the pier, and as was written, the pier had a slight upslope to it at the end, and he gets a tremendous jump out. Well, first thing we had to do was build a ramp that would accommodate the type of jump we were looking for. Well, the intricate stages of planning then begin with getting together with our stunt coordinator, our second unit director, Terry Leonard, who was given the responsibility of shooting those particular gags. We conferred together and we made a drawing on paper. From paper, it went to a computer-generated drawing, which showed us all the details we needed to know. We probably spent 3 months building up to it, designing, testing, preparing for the real thing. Getting the car rigged on the back of the boat and making it look like we crashed into it was done in 2 pieces, actually. We did what's called a cable off type of a gag, where we towed the car into the ramp to get the speed we needed to jump it into the ocean. I think we probably jumped that car 150 feet. By the time we took the engine out, made a facade bottom, we filled the car with foam. All the oil was taken out. Anything that could leak into the water was taken care of. And when the car hit the water, it landed perfectly flat on the water. So had they needed to shoot it again, we could have craned it out and done it again. From there, Mike Wassel and company takes over.
Green screen photography buys us a number of different things. We can move the camera quite easily to change our setup, to direct the actors. It's a more comfortable environment. It's completely controllable.
Ready? And let's go!
The process allows us to extract the foreground that's in front of that color and be able to put an image behind it.
And then at that point, we took over again. What we did is we constructed a set piece of the back end of this yacht. And we actually set it up in a parking lot. And we took our Camaro and we built a traveler for it. We rigged the set piece with explosions and pieces of the boat to fly off. We had a jet ski, we had radar, we had the big back wing, and we shot that on dry land.
And action!
Then we actually took the $5 million yacht and we distressed the back end to the best that the engineers of the boat company would allow us. And we actually set the Camaro on the back of the boat and then dressed around it so we could put our actors and our stars about it and let them do their work. As far as John Singleton and Terry Leonard and the whole film crew, safety is the one area that has everybody's ear. So we were very careful and very particular in our planning, up to actually putting our stars on the back of this boat with a car sitting on it, as far as the rigging, the bracing, the engineering, the calculations of supporting the weight of the car, and all the cast and crew. So a lot of time and care was taken there.
As Al mentioned, the sequences were created using 2 different stunts: the launching of the car and the dropping of the car onto the boat. When edited together, it was seamless and we had our ending. So what happened to the cars after the movie? Good question. A few of the Challengers were sold over the years, and some are still in the USA, and at least one is in Europe. As for the Camaros, Year One had the actual jump car on their showroom floor for a long time. It recently underwent a full restoration and was sold to the wife of Craig Jackson, one of the partners of the Barrett Jackson Auto Auctions. I actually saw the unveiling of this car in person in January of 2020, and it was amazing. At least one of the Camaros is with my friends over at chromecars.de in Germany, and I will be visiting that car in April of 2020. I don't know where the other Camaros are, so if you know, leave a comment down below. Also, before I go, I want to remind you that I read all your requests for videos, and so here's what's coming in the near future. Prelude to Too Fast, Too Furious, Tokyo Drift Mustangs, the Tricked Out DVD Evo build with the Playboy Playmate, DK's 350Z, the Tokyo Drift Evos, Han's RX-7, Letty's 240SX and Mia's Integra, which will be a short video, the freeway crashes in Too Fast, Too Furious, the Monte Carlo from Tokyo Drift, how we did the movie car graphics, and of course there will be many, many more videos coming, but this is what's coming first. I release about 1 video a week, so be patient. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to subscribe to make sure you get notifications whenever I release a new video. That's all for this time. Have a great week. Tune in next time.